Now we're going to be looking at herbs for adolescence. So the first thing we're going to be looking at and addressing is the mood changes, which is a really common change that can occur within the hormonal changes and the fluctuations that are happening in adolescence. And one thing that's really important with adolescents is that we're not giving any hormonal-based herbs right off the start. We want to really get into other herbs addressing the liver, addressing the nervous system before we give anything that has a hormonal effect. The hormonal herbs that we use tend to be a bit pushy. They're trying to reestablish this connection between the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the ovaries. In adolescence, we want to gently facilitate communication. We don't want to be putting pushy herbs into the system. So as a rule, as a practitioner, I never offer hormonal-based herbs to adolescents unless it's very indicated, and that would be working with a practitioner at this level. So mood changes, some of the major changes that can occur is depression and anxiety. And they're the most common mood changes experienced during those years. Some of the herbs that we can be looking at and different lifestyle things is exercise and diet. So really looking at if they're getting enough exercise or if they're exercising too much, if their diet is adequate, and we can really be looking at the blood sugar. So addressing right at that blood sugar level, are they getting enough protein, enough fat? And we can be looking at some really simple herbs that you might have in your kitchen, such as cinnamon. So cinnamon on oatmeal, cinnamon tea, super lovely as well. And you can also do a cinnamon tincture. Wonderful to help balance out the blood sugar. For Nervine herbs, so these are herbs that are going to affect the nervous system. They're either going to have an upward energy or they're going to have more of a balancing downward energy, are going to help with balancing out any anxiety or the depression. Lemon balm is a really great example. Lemon balm has an upward energy. It tastes and smells lemony, and so it moves the energy upward, helps to kind of lift through the clouds. Vervain has a nice grounding energy. So really nice for someone who has anxiety that feels like they're not quite in their body fully. Vervain is also wonderful for depression. Oats, we both have oat straw and oat seed, and these are a nice balancer between an upward energy and a grounding energy. And skullcap. Skullcap is lovely if there's any kind of restlessness associated with the anxiety. The next symptom that we're going to be addressing is hormonal acne. And acne is a major concern for adolescents. 50% of age 14 to 17-year-old anatomical females are going to experience acne, where 75% of anatomical males will experience some sort of hormonal-based acne. This is because of androgens. Androgens are the male sex steroid hormone. We have in both the anatomical female and the male, but they're responsible for the masculinization features that occur within the system. These androgens tend to thicken tissues around the pores in the skin, and this increases bacterial infection, causing acne. One of the things that we can offer for acne is addressing the liver. The liver is really important to detoxify to have a positive skin effect. This is often missed in traditional acne treatments where they're just giving topical applications. We really need to address the detoxification and specifically the detoxification of the liver. Milk thistle is a wonderful herb. It's a nice detoxifier, very gentle, nourishing detoxifier. And sarsaparilla is another wonderful liver herb, and it also addresses the hormones. Sarsaparilla was in the classical drink, the root beer, and so we can be fermenting sarsaparilla with other herbs and giving root beer to adolescents, which they'll love. Next, we want to be thinking about depurative alterative herbs. These are herbs that affect the detoxification pathways. So sarsaparilla would fit into this category as well. So with detoxification, we want to be looking at liver, we can be looking at the lymph system, the urinary system. But some examples that I have up here are ones that are focusing more on the liver. Things like burdock and yellow dock. These are often weeds that might be growing in your backyard. Again, as we're affecting the detoxification pathways, we're going to have a positive skin effect. Then we want to be doing things topical as well. So an antibacterial face wash with tea tree essential oil, different clays, as they have a drawing effect, would help to pull the infection out of the skin. Stress is a major aggravate of acne. So you want to be looking at those Nervine herbs as well, just to really help manage any kind of stress level that may be occurring, especially around exam period in high school. Hormonal acne is often why birth control gets prescribed to adolescents. So if we can help manage the acne with herbs and with diet, then potentially these adolescents might not need to be put on birth control, which really takes over any kind of communication between the hypothalamus, pituitary, and the ovarian system. The next symptom we're going to be looking at is heavy bleeding and erratic cycles. This is really common during the times when an adolescent first gets their cycle, where they might have really heavy bleeds, very erratic cycles. When we're looking at hormonal fluctuations, it can take 3 years to regulate. So when we're thinking about someone first getting their cycle, it's going to take at least 3 years to get regulated, if not longer. When we're looking at therapy, we want to be addressing any kind of anemia, so low iron from the loss of blood. We want to think about liver support to balance hormones. All of our hormones get processed by the liver, and a lot of the enzymes that convert hormones are produced in the liver. So liver is a key treatment protocol in this stage. And then we might at this point need to offer some more hormonal interventions. We might have to give some of these herbs that have a little bit more of a stronger hormonal nudge, as potentially the hormones might not be regulating themselves. Some of the herbs that we can be potentially offering is Vitex. Vitex is also known as chaste tree, and it's one that I prescribe later on, as it tends to be a bit pushy in the system. So I want to try these other protocols of addressing the liver, other types of herbs that we can help manage the bleeding first before we try chaste tree. The first protocol is addressing the liver. As mentioned prior, the liver is going to be processing all of our sex steroid hormones and all of our hormones within our system. They're also going to help produce the enzymes to convert hormones. So whenever we're thinking about a treatment protocol where hormones are involved, we want to address the liver. Milk thistle and dandelion root are two great options. Very gentle, and they're not going to push the system too much. They're more nurturing, nourishing herbs. Then we want to be looking at hormonal herbs. The best hormonal herb that I like to give for adolescents is sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla used to be made into that fermented root beer drink, which is wonderful for both hormonal acne and for any kind of hormonal changes that are occurring within adolescence. So find a great fermentation book and ferment sarsaparilla with other herbs and create a natural root beer. Perfect therapy and protocol to give to your teenager. Then we have styptic herbs, and styptic herbs are going to help to manage the heavy bleeding. They're going to slow that menstruation down. Things like shepherd's purse, which again grows as a weed, and yarrow is another really great example. For pain management, we can be using things like cramp bark and corydalis, which are going to have an analgesic, a pain relieving quality. For all the herbs that I'm indicating in these slides, I recommend going to your local health food store and talking to a consultant there about the different dosing depending on the age and the weight of the person who's taking the herb. There's also really great reference books that you can look into as well that will be in the reference notes at the very end.